We spent an enormous amount of time looking at the entire collection of recipes that we have. And we first started with, let's look at a season, because all of these dishes are going to be seasonal, and you're going to see us going through seasonal menu changes. You might see a similar dish, but with an autumn ingredient as we come out of summer than a winter ingredient. But when we look at, is the pasta eater often a vegetarian? Yes. So let's create some pastas that are meatless. What are some of the challenges of eating a pasta? Well, we'll give them one long pasta and we'll see how it goes. And then we'll test it. And we'll do some shortcuts so they can actually get it in their mouth. How they taste are one thing, but the experience for the guest is an entirely different one. Texture is one of the things that we spent an enormous amount of time trying to make sure that each dish had a separate texture. You'll see even as I go into the entrees that we're really looking for texture to accentuate. So once we end up with where our core protein is or our core item is, then we're trying to build around those so you don't have a dish that tastes the same in every bite. I think that variety is very, very important.
I think what I love about Chef Chiarella's cooking is he's also a vintner and a wine lover, and so he's naturally designs dishes that are wine friendly. With all the flavors of the dishes being so intense and concentrated and layered, I look for the same thing when it comes to wines. My number one rule after Like What You Drink is pair body with body, right? So if you have a light dish, a lighter style wine, and whites tend to be lighter than reds. What do you think about that one?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's also nice to let them have a little bit of an experience, like they have a 30,000-foot wine bar where they can have a taste of this and a taste of that. And if it's not absolutely perfect, we're talking about premium service here. And offering that extra second when you have it at that point of the meal, when your service is beginning to slow down, is a wonderful add-on. Now, our job's to over-deliver. And with our relationships and with Andrea's help on this side and all the chefs and the rest of the Delta Elite team, thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to this launch. There's a story in every plate, and an equal story in every glass.
What does it take to fly? It takes knowing we have our work cut out for us. But if you run before the wind, you can't take off. You've got to turn into it. The thing you push against lifts you up. So every challenge is a chance to show that even in this crazy world of no liquids and route cancellations, someone still has the passengers back. And along the way, we'll prove we're not just building a bigger airline, we're building a better one.
As part of our commitment to build a better airline, not just a bigger one, we're implementing solutions at every step of your journey to make travel faster, more productive, and more enjoyable. Meet Delta Sky Priority, a new travel experience that expedites your journey from curbside to the gate. While some delays are out of our control, checking in shouldn't be one of them. So we're adding dedicated check-in areas and personnel at airports to expedite the process. And while airport security has changed, we're adapting to this new reality. Sky Priority passengers now enjoy quicker screening with accelerated security lines at select airports. Once at your gate, you'll enjoy priority boarding, which enables you to take your time, find the best overhead bins, and get comfortable in your seat. But our commitment to elevating the flight experience doesn't end when the flight does. That's why your baggage arrives with priority at the carousel and without delay, getting you to your ultimate destination sooner. That's what Sky Priority is all about. Enhanced convenience and special services when you need them most.
We have a collection of wines that are submissions for our 2012 Business Elite Wine Selection. It's a process where we put out a bid to all the great wine suppliers out there and let them know that we're going to be collecting samples, and then we'll evaluate them for possible consideration for onboard service in 2012. We open the doors to anyone who's got a quality product and of course can work within the quantities that we need, which are ample, and the logistical needs. I mean, because a small company, some of them are perfectly well equipped to do that, and some of the bigger companies are or aren't. So we open the doors to anybody that will service this type of business with great products.
Never really realized before how much went into it. I knew that she, of course, is a smart lady, put a lot of, did her homework beforehand before she chose wines, but I didn't realize that she went through tasting all these.
We'll only choose about 30 selections today out of the many thousands of bottles that are here, so it's a lot to weed through. What really guides the process is, first and foremost, that the wines are going to show well in flight, and that means that they have to have a real presence on the palate and a real expressiveness, because once you get to 30,000 feet, your senses of smell and taste are much attenuated, and so things that tasted really good on the ground sometimes lose their character in flight.
I think especially our passengers that know that Andrea has selected them want to know why she selected them and have a chance to taste them for themselves.
I'm looking for a label that has sufficient sophistication to be part of the Business Elite experience. There may be a great wine, but maybe the label's a little too casual or a little too cheeky and it just doesn't evoke super fine dining. I'm always looking for the wine to fit within one of the categories that we try to make sure we're hewing to, whether that's classic French or discovery. And then of course from there, I don't taste every wine that's here, but I evaluate it sensorily, and that once it meets those early criteria, at least through sense of smell. And then when I get it down to some finalists, and then it becomes a very almost a painful process, really, because there are more great wines than we can serve on board. But it's a good problem to have.
An airline's job is to take you from where you are to where you need to be. And we're not just talking about points on a map. With a more intuitive Delta website and mobile app and the most Wi-Fi equipped planes, we let you be everywhere at once. Innovations like these are extending our reach so that you can extend yours. And now, even at 30,000 feet, you can still touch the ground. An airline has planes and people, and the planes can seem the same, so it comes down to the people. Because bad weather, the price of oil, those are every airline's reality. And solutions won't come from 500 tons of metal and a paint job. They'll come from people. Delta people, who made us the biggest airline in the world, and then decided that that wasn't enough. If you go out of your way to fly with an airline, does that airline go out of its way to reward you? It should, because loyalty is a two-way street. And when one side gives, the other has to give back. Dedicated Redcoat customer service, more first-class upgrades, miles that don't expire. This isn't benevolence. This is our business. And the next time an airline asks for yours, ask them first what they've done to deserve it.